Alright viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good day and welcome to a special edition of the Headliner on your favorite channel, Mikiya TV. I'm your host, Umar Isa Dandago. On Friday, the 24th of May 2024, Muhammadu Sanusi II, His Royal Highness, returns as the 16th Emir of Kano after being away from the throne for about 4 years or so. Well, he was dethroned, if I could use this word, because of some political tussle, political turmoils that swept him away from the royal family. And later, he came back this week. But being him away, or before he was removed from the throne, there were some changes, some reforms to the system, where 4 other Emirates were created apart from the one that we have here in Kano State. That incident during the administration of Abdullah Umar Ganduje created and generated heated debates and controversies. Right now, that era is over, is gone, and those 4 Emirates have been dissolved by the current government of Engineer Abubakar Yusuf. We are here at the very beautiful office and library of Malam Ibrahim Ado Kurawa, full of books, from religious books, historical books, and so on and so forth, to ask him about the historical ramification regarding what has been happening and the return of Muhammadu Sanusi II as the Emir of Kano. We're going to look at it from both from both historical and contemporary point of view. Without further ado, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome Malam Ibrahim Ado Kurawa to the program. Thank you very much indeed, Akramakallah, for being on the show.
Thank you very much.
Well, you have been described by many people as one of Kano State's most deeply learned historians that we have. So it's an honor to have you on the show. Briefly, what would you like to say about the return of Emir Muhammadu Sanusi II?
Thank you very much. Good evening. Although I'm sorry, what you are saying is maybe a bit flattering. I can't call myself a historian or somebody deeply learned or somebody who is knowledgeable.
People have called you.
I'm just doing the little that I know. I say it.
All right.
Well, you're asking what's the significance of
your general overview of Muhammadu Sanusi's return as the 16th Emir of Kano State.
So, Alhamdulillah, he was removed by Governor Abdullah Umar Ganduje for political reasons, because Ganduje could not control him, and Emir Sanusi at that time said people should be allowed to vote for the person they want, because that's democracy, and the winner should be allowed. That's one level of his tussle or his misunderstanding with Governor Ganduje. And secondly, the federal government of the time of President Muhammadu Buhari was also uncomfortable with him, because he was very critical of their policies, which are not based on economics. They are not scientific. So, and he himself being one of the foremost economists in Africa, having been African banker of the year, central banker of the year, and he has been the best central banker in Nigeria. At one time, he was the best central banker in the world. So it is not possible to catch such a person and just say he shouldn't say what his mind is, and the effect of the economic mismanagement of the government.
And he's known to have been for years a critic.
That's what he has been. He has been, and he is still a public intellectual. So that is very critical in his life. And so happened that the federal government didn't like what he was doing.
So they were instrumental, the influence?
No, what is more important is the governor. The governor is politicized. Emir Sanusi criticized his rail project, which is of no economic value. And then he came about election. He won that election in 2019. But Governor Ganduje and his people did what they did. We had the inconclusive, and finally, so all these are political issues.
But he was seriously accused of aiding, I don't want to use the word abetting, but aiding and supporting the then candidate Abba Kabir Yusuf publicly without hiding it. As a public figure, as a traditional ruler, he shouldn't have done that.
No, he didn't.
That's what people are saying.
It's wrong.
There were pictures, videos.
Obviously, maybe it's in private. Somebody will hold you responsible for what you have said. But in any case, it is democracy. Even if you like somebody, you can tell him privately you want him. But he didn't campaign for him in public as a politician.
People were accusing him of funding the campaign with his own money.
Well, you have said accusing, so I cannot reply.
I don't make judgments.
I cannot reply accusation.
I bring to the table people's arguments.
That's their own, but I cannot respond to that.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that the critical position was when Abba won that election, they brought inconclusive. He said, allow the winner to take his position. He didn't say, allow Abba, the person who has won. And it was important that as a leader, you are seeing crisis, you are talking about justice, you have to speak about that. So that didn't go on well with them, but anyway, that is history. So Ganduje came and orchestrated what he did. He reduced the Emirates to 8 local governments. He did what, and then finally he removed him.
Okay.
So that's
but as an emir, as a traditional ruler, as a religious ruler, was it wise for him to do what he had done at that time?
It was very wise what he did. Because if you are a responsible public person, you should talk about the truth. If something is going on wrong, you should say it is wrong. You can't hide. This is people want hypocrisy. That's the thing that traditional rulers don't have right to make commentary. No, it's not possible. They are citizens, number one, and they are leaders, and number 3, they have public responsibility. So you cannot just say, okay, shut up. There is something that will be detrimental to the people, and then you will not talk because you are afraid. Fear should not be part of leadership.
Okay, so he did what he did. He got removed,
and they did what they did.
Okay,
he did what they did, and they did what they
did. He got removed, and he left Kano.
Yes,
but he was still going around with his turban as the emir, for example. And some people are saying that outside Kano, he shouldn't have appeared like that, for example.
Well, what is their basis for saying that he shouldn't appear like that?
So that's why I'm asking you, because you are an expert in this field.
They just said, because people said something, so it should be. They have no basis in history, in law, in human rights. There is no basis for it. Number one, in history, if you are a monarch, you remain a monarch forever.
Yes.
It's a privilege. Nobody can remove you from that.
Okay.
This is their wrong conception of history. If you want to stop somebody, you have to kill him. But as long as he's alive, he has those privileges. Number one, he can wear anything he wants. He has that regalia, and it has precedence. What is important is the precedence. There were emirs that were removed by the Europeans or British. They continued with all the regalia.
Okay.
Like Alu, who was living in Lokoja, he had the regalia and he was comfortable as an emir. Like Sanusi, who was
his grandfather.
Yes, who was in Azari. There are a lot of documentation, I mean photographs, pictures, videos of the way he was, the manner in which he conducted himself. So there is nothing, absolutely nothing in tradition and in history that he violated.
Yes. Okay.
So
thank God you have brought this up. There's nothing in tradition or culture that he has violated. But he was accused of violating or bending some rules when he was the emir back then from 2015 to 19 when he was dethroned, for example. There was some stuff that he used to do, like using his mobile phone, for example, which was not seen during his predecessor's time, or speaking in English at the palace when he received delegations from foreign countries. What could you say about this?
These accusations are frivolities.
Frivolities.
Meaning? They don't have any meaning, because you can't say the emir shouldn't use his phone. Who said it?
I mean, people are saying that they didn't see it before.
So what?
This time.
So what? Because the emir has right to change any rule. Every emir can change rule. That is why it's called an autocrat.
Okay. So the rules are not
rigid.
Permanent.
They are not permanent.
They can be.
They are
flexible.
They are not
changed.
permanent. It's because of the ignorance of people. They think that the emir must do specific things. Let me tell you, when Ado Bayero became the Emir, he was going to the Kingsway in Lagos. People never saw it.
What was that?
Kingsway stores.
What is it?
He was going there to shopping in the stores. People were complaining that why is he doing that? He went there. There are so many things that he did that people complained that were not there. And then because he lived for 50 years, they became adopted to it. Now emirs have right to telephone. They have right to mobile phone. And when it's in the palace, anybody who says that the emir is using phone in the palace is lying. He has never used it in the palace. In private, he can use it. But when he's in the palace, talking in public or addressing his the citizens, he doesn't use telephone. So it's just because people can have any form of allegation which cannot be substantiated. But the critical factor is that as an emir or as a king or as a monarch, there are certain things that you on yourself, you can reform them. You can change them. That is why you have reform. That is why these things are not permanent. Now you go back to Sheikh Usman Danfodio, you go back to the jihad. When the jihadists came to Kano, they made changes. It was not like what was happening before. And then they realized that, okay, if we are so egalitarian, we allow people to be do what they want, we cannot rule. So Ibrahim Dabo sought the permission of Abdullah Sarki Muslim Muhammad. He said, reintroduce the traditions. That is why Kano Sarauta is different from Sokoto Sarauta. You can see the Sultan, what he wears is different from what the Emir of Kano wears. You can see the Sultan would shake hands with people, but Emir of Kano doesn't shake hands with people. Now, if Sarki Sanusi decides that I will shake hands with people, so what about it? He has changed it.
And the same as if he decides to speak in English at the palace.
Definitely. There is nothing wrong with it. It's somebody who said he will not speak in English. He was speaking in English. If people don't know, HRH Ado Bayero used to speak in English, but when he went to BUK, it was Abdullah Bayero College, they had Hausa week. He said, okay, from today, I want to promote Hausa language, I will only speak in Hausa.
So he had Walin Kanu.
Yes. So he was doing it. He had it, but it doesn't really matter. Sanusi is a multilingual. He can speak English, he can speak French, he can speak Arabic, he can speak Hausa. So he can choose to speak in Hausa, he can choose to speak in French, he can choose to speak in Arabic.
What about this issue that people are also complaining about, him leading the Jum'at prayer and the Eid prayer and conducting the sermon, the khutbah, which, as some people, as the critics say, it's not his job, it's the job of the chief imam of Kano. And he's sort of...
Oh, this is ignorance. Because imam, imamukum amirukum, this is what Danfodio said.
Meaning?
Your imam of prayer is your leader. This is what Danfodio told Sri Kano Suleiman, that you are, since you are the imam, I appoint you the amir. So the amir is automatically the imam. This is Islamic tradition. That is why even when you have the khilafah, the khutbah is, you have to mention the khalif. And all the khulafa Urashidin and even others, they used to do khutbah. And here in Kano, there are scholars like Dabo, they did it. There are even recently, Abdullah Bayero did it. Muhammad Sanusi the first was doing his khutbah. So how can you say because somebody come and is emir, you will not do khutbah? That is one. Secondly, even the Emir Alhaji Ado Bayero, when he's going to open mosque, he has his permanent sample khutbah that he reads. So Sanusi can do khutbah extempore, that means offered. So that's why it is called khutbah, is sermon. It's not even supposed to be written. So he can do it. And he did it. So he is the one, the imam of the mosque is just his deputy. But if he's around, automatically he becomes the imam. Because he's the leader of the people. So I wonder if
so this has a religious basis.
It has. I'm even surprised that people will say it's an offense for, it shows our degeneration as a society, that we're so ignorant that we even think somebody is doing this Islamic duty, so he's doing it wrongly.
So viewers, we have been speaking for the past 14 minutes or so with Malam Ibrahim Ado Kurawa about the return of Emir Muhammadu Sanusi II as the 16th Emir of Kano. We've talked a lot about some controversies, and he has been he has done his best as an expert to clarify some of these issues. We're going on a short break. When we come back, we're going to look back at the history and a little bit and see what happened in the history, and also talk about the roles and the responsibilities of the traditional rulers, and whether or not the current political climate and democracy in code that we are practicing has been hampering the development, or has been inimical to the system of the traditional leadership. Thank you very much indeed. We are going on a short break. When you come back, the conversation continues. My name is Umar Isa Dandago. Alright viewers, welcome back. This is a special edition of the Headliner on your favorite channel, Mikiya TV. My name is Umar Isa Dandago, and we are recording at the library of Malam Ibrahim Ado Kurawa, full of interesting books, and I'm very much interested in this book. Welcome back to the show, Malam Ibrahim Ado Kurawa.
Thank you very much.
The Rise and the Fall of the Great Powers. I can see three great flags: Britain, the US, and this is Japan, right? Japanese flag, written by Paul Kennedy. Very interesting. I'm particularly interested in the global politics, as you know. Coming down to the local issues that are affecting Malam Ibrahim, what briefly can you say about the roles and responsibilities of traditional rulers?
Well, traditional rulers, as you have said, they are just custodians of tradition and heritage of the people and their values. That's what they are supposed to do. They just give that leadership. They don't have any executive, legislative, or judicial role. The constitution has denied them those roles. They are only advisors, arbitrators. If there is anything, they go into arbitration, reconciliators, and that's all. Okay. But
so in the past,
any executive,
what did they used to do before the system got changed?
They were the rulers. When the British, before the British came, they did everything, because the Emir, as we have in Kano, was the leader of the people. He was the ultimate judge. He was the legislator. So he was an autocrat anyway. But he had a council that advised him. When you say
autocrat, the positive or the negative mean?
Whatever one you take. Somebody who is on his own. He's not elected. Somebody has elected him, and he has absolute power.
Okay. But ruling with an iron fist?
No.
Okay.
It's not like that. Because he's guided by Islam.
Okay.
Just that is opposite of Democrat. As Democrat elected, in my own interpretation, in my usage, so you can have several meanings. So in any case, that was how the Emir was. But when the British came, he became what they call native authority. Okay. And in the native authority, they designated some powers to him after the several proclamations and ordinances made by Lugard. Finally, they continued to make reforms, increase his powers, reduce his powers, dissolve some of them, devolve some of them at various times. Yes. So it was evolving for those 57 years that the colonial people were ruling the country. Then when they were when they left, Nigeria became independent. These native authorities became the local government, but they maintained that position as local government, and the British were changed by Nigerian people.
Yes.
You had regional government and you had federal government. And then the provincial, which was brought later, and the native authorities. So the emirs hold that responsibility. They had executive functions. They built schools, they built hospitals and what have you at that time. Then later, after several years, when the military came, there was the local government reform, and everything the emirs were doing, they were stripped of it.
Okay.
So they don't have any legislative,
function,
executive, or judicial. Before that time of the local government reform, there was even the Emir's court, which was a grade A court. But later, when this thing came, they removed him. The Emir's judicial department was the one controlling the alcalis in the villages and districts.
Yes.
So, but with the local government reforms, everything was taken.
When did it happen? The local government?
It happened initially in 1967 when the states were created.
Yes.
But finally, in 1976, everything was finalized. So the emir didn't have any role. So he just became advisory and then talking about mosques, opening school, mosque and attending ceremonies. So that's the function that was left for him. But as a leader, he can guide people to do good things.
But he doesn't have the active power to make decisions.
He doesn't have power. Power is devolved into three in Nigeria. You have federal, state, and local government.
So even the local governments are more powerful than the emirs?
Obviously, because they have their constitutional roles. They have legal functions. Emir cannot say, today I direct you to build a mosque. No, to build a school. Or take this money from federal state treasury and build schools. Maybe as a donation or whatever, he can do that. Or he cannot say, today the teacher in so primary school, I have removed him. Or I have promoted him, because it's not his own responsibility.
Which means the current emir who has returned, Muhammadu Sanusi II, should be the first person to understand this dichotomy, that he's not here to compete with the political leaders.
What is competition?
I mean, they do something wrong and he goes against them.
So what is he going to do?
Like, he just minds his business, as some people would say.
This is aggressive. It's not, life is not like that. The emir, number one, is a citizen. He has right as a citizen to do what he thinks is right. Number two, he's a leader. And we're in a democracy. So if people do something wrong, you say this is wrong. As you, even you and I have that right. Nobody can deny that right. That's what is called freedom of expression, freedom of ideas. It is enshrined in the Constitution, fundamental freedoms. So in that respect, there is nothing like that that stops the emir from doing. What is important is you negotiate. You negotiate between you and the politicians. Because now, since the politicians will be the ones to appoint the emir, then you can negotiate. Okay, I tell you this.
Compromise?
No, not to compromise, negotiate. Because there's a better word. Okay,
negotiate.
You are emir, you are governor, I'm emir. This is what people said they want. So please do it for them. Something like that. But if something
negotiate
like,
in private, not to go public.
Even public. You can say something like what Sanusi did. Then Ganduje was going to take $800 million loan, which has no basis. So if Sanusi didn't talk, you will leave that money for the people of Kano, 800 billion. How many years it is going to take the people of Kano to pay? It's worth the sacrifice to leave the position. Because if you tell the governor to stop that thing, you cannot do that. The problem with us is that we don't understand that leadership is all about sacrifice. So it's a choice. You cannot, what I mean, just put somebody in a cage and tell him, no, don't do this as a human being. So
we need freedom.
That's the point. So everybody has the right.
Yes, we are running out of time. We have 3 minutes to go. Emir Muhammadu Sanusi II, His Royal Highness, has been hailed, celebrated, and recognized all over the world as a hugely educated, learned person who knows a lot about the economy, global politics, religion, and a bunch of other important stuff.
I don't know about global politics. You just put it there.
I know he has been interviewed all over the world, BBC, CNN.
Global politics. They interview him on what he knows.
Okay, so so let me retract my words. Let me
maybe because you are doing a global program.
So how significant? That's my question. How significant is it to have him as the Emir of Kano?
Very important, because that is number one. He has the social capital. He has the knowledge to bring about reform, and he did two things, because you have 3 minutes.
Okay.
Number one, he made attempt, and it has been done. He wrote the Islamic family law reform, which was a law that was drafted by several scholars and best jurists in Kano. He did that, and it was accepted. Even in Niger Republic, he was called to address the public, the ulama, and the traditional rulers in Niger on the need to make Muslim family law reform. That is important. Secondly, Sanusi is an SDG advocate. So by that, he brought something to the world, which is called 1 million teachers in Africa. To finance 1 million teachers, to transform education in Africa, not only Kano. So who can do that in Nigeria? No traditional ruler. He mobilized $5 million to train those 1 million teachers. So you see, he is critical to the development of Africa. That's the kind of leader you want. He went to the United Nations and he spoke. The president of Nigeria was there, and even the governors were at the audience while he was on the podium, because of his role as an SDG advocate. So somebody of that caliber is an asset. And what happened between Nigeria and Niger, he was the most important public diplomat in Nigeria, because he went there and helped in bringing understanding, whatever you may call it later. But he was the first person to go into that and do it. So you need such leaders that can put people in the right direction, to reform their family law, to bring about education in the whole of the continent, not to talk of Kano or Nigeria. So it's significant.
And we have to accept the fact that he is controversial, and some people put it divisive.
People have their opinion.
You don't believe that he's...
No, it's not. It's not divisive. When you say controversial, it could be positive or negative. And it's an opinion. Everybody is entitled to his own opinion. I have that liberty. You can say he's controversial. You can say he's opinionated. You can say he's outspoken. Whatever. You can describe anybody. You can use.
But you don't agree with that?
I don't agree with
assessment.
Yes.
Well, Malam Ibrahim Ado Kurawa, it's a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you very much indeed for being on the show. On behalf of everyone that has contributed to the production of the show, Ibrahim Salis Nasir is the cameraman, Muhammad Qutb is the video editor, Dr. Ali Musa from Coventry University in the UK is the producer. My name is Umar Isa Dandago, saying goodbye and see you very soon.